barbecue. Today we are going to a neighbor's house for the Super Bowl, and I'm going to bring down some traditional wings. I've done them a couple of different ways. I've actually brined half the batch in buttermilk for the last 4 hours. And we're going to let those drain a little bit and put those on the Weber kettle. And the other half I'm going to cook dry with just some rub, and then at the end we're going to season them with a barbecue sauce. So I wanted something a little bit different to add to the mix this time. So I'm also going to do some mini potato bombs, which are little mini potatoes stuffed with mozzarella cheese wrapped in bacon. Okay, so I picked up some of these smaller sized potatoes. Traditionally, this recipe, at least the first time I saw it, was about 10 years ago by the famous Barbecue Pit Boys, and it was done with full-size potatoes and stuffed with sausages and different kinds of meat. So this is a little variation on it. This would be the same corer you would use for that. I'm just going to take this. I boiled these potatoes for about 10 minutes and then ran some cold water over them so they're easy to handle. And we're going to use these cores too. There's no sense in wasting those. And I'll do one more here. And we're just going to push this through, trying to keep my hand out of the shot. Just run it down, pull it back out, and you have a nice little cored small potato. I'm going to go ahead and core the rest of these, and then we're going to season them, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's time to season these. I'm just going to drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil, something to act as a binder to help the spices stick. Gonna mush them all around in here. As you can see, I've got the cores mixed in with potatoes. Put a little coating on there. And I'm going to use some salt, pepper, garlic as a seasoning for this. You can use regular just salt and pepper. You don't want too much, just get a light dusting on here. And I want a little barbecue flavor, so I'm also going to use, this is actually a Killer Hogs product called The Barbecue Rub, and I'm going to add just a little bit of that. You can add whatever you want. Some people use cayenne pepper, some people use nothing at all. So just a little bit of that adds a little color, and it just gives it a little kind of a sweet barbecue kind of a flavor. Okay, so I put on some clean gloves. I'm going to go ahead and mix these around a little bit, get a nice coating on everyone. Mixeroo. It's a technical term that you hear me use often. Just want to make sure they're all a little bit of a coating on there. And then we'll take each one. We have our little hole that we made. Some people use string cheese for this, which is really nothing more than mozzarella. I had some extra mozzarella laying around that I just cut into string cheese size pieces. We're going to stuff that inside. I took this bacon, cut it in half. I generally use the thin cut bacon for this, but this is what I had. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. You just want to go over it so it's completely covered top to bottom, and it's just that easy. Okay, I can do one more here, and then your cheese. Wrap it with a little bacon, and I will put a little bit more of that Killer Hogs barbecue rub on this bacon once I get them wrapped. While I'm here, I'm going to do the same thing with the plugs. Just going to take it, wrap the bacon around it, just like the others. It'll taste just as good, and there's no sense in letting them go to waste. Okay, so I finished wrapping up these little potato bombs. I dusted them lightly with another coat of this barbecue rub. It's a sweeter rub. It doesn't have very much salt in it. We're going to get plenty of salt from the bacon anyway. So just a light dusting I put on there. I'll eventually put this on a rack. One safety tip I want to mention, I prepped about 3 dozen chicken wings today, and I always use a separate cutting board for chicken. just a little overly cautious, I guess. I usually don't wash chickens off because it can splatter, it can get places, and we do a pretty thorough wipe down with a disinfectant wipe every time after we do any chicken. So, okay, so I had about a dozen and a half of these wings brining in buttermilk for the last 4 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and I pulled them out. I've got a little draining rack here. I'm gonna go ahead and let them drain for about an hour, hour and a half in the fridge to try to get some of that moisture off. Probably halfway through, I'll roll them over. You can cook them just like this, but the drier the better as far as getting the skin crisp. So I'm going to get these out in the fridge and I'll show you the seasoning process at the end. Okay, it's time to get the grills fired up here. I'm going to be using both my Weber kettle and my pellet grill, the Rectech 680. I am going to use water today in the water trough. One of the criticisms of the Slow and Sear system is that you have to make sure that you empty the water out each time, otherwise mold can develop. But I always clean mine out, so I've not had an issue with that. We'll let that get going, and once the coals are hot, I'll put them in the grill. Usually try to give it about a half hour or so to heat up. I will be adding some applewood for some smoke flavor today, and I'll be back in a minute and we'll get the other grill fired up. Okay, so I've got the coals just about ready on my Weber kettle. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the other grill now. This is one of the things that I like most about pellet grills is it's on. I'm going to set the temp about 275 for these wings and let them cook for probably about a half hour. Then I'm going to turn up the heat to crisp them a little bit more, and then probably another half hour they'll be done. Okay, so I've already seasoned some of these. These are going to be the wings that will be on the pellet smoker. I'm going to hit them with a light coat of salt, pepper, garlic. I've already done the other pan, and then a little bit more, just a light coating of barbecue rub. We're going to put these in a barbecue sauce bath before they're done anyway. So do a little light coat, turn them all over. Just kind of gives it that first layer of flavor before the sauce goes on. And more salt, pepper, garlic. Killer Hogs the barbecue rub. And so that's going to be the first batch. I'm going to do the ones that I brined in buttermilk next, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the wings that I brined in buttermilk. I'm going to use a product from Cosmos Q. That's a garlic parmesan wing dust. And this stuff is crazy good on wings. So I'm just going to give this a light little dusting. Turn them over. We're just going to do one seasoning on these. So you don't need to watch me turn these over. I'll get them ready and I'll be right back for the other side. Okay, so one side done. A little shot of this. Probably will add some more of this once they're done, just as a top coat. I'm trying to go not too heavy, but this will make a nice little bark on these and add a lot of flavor. So I'll see you out at the grill. Okay, so I've got these on. I put the ones that I brined in buttermilk here on the kettle. We'll get those going. I'm probably going to run that about 300 degrees. And then in the Rectech, I've got the ones that I've seasoned, and I will put sauce on along with our potato bombs. So we'll see you back here in about a half hour. Okay, so these wings are temping right around 160, 165. I'm going to run them up probably to 175 or so. So it's time now to give them a little bath in the glaze that we're going to use. And it's just a simple little dunk. And back on the grill they go. So I'm going to do the rest of these. Get them back on the smoker, and I'll see you in about 25 minutes. Okay, so I'm getting ready to pull these off the kettle. We're temping around 165. Most of these smaller pieces are more up to the 180s. So they're definitely done. They feel moist. So it's time to pull them. I'm going to get these off, put them right in this pan here, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, look at that. Got these nice glazed wings. These are ready to come off. I'm going to get these in the pan. Our little potato bombs are looking awesome in here. The bacon's nice and crispy. So I'm going to pull all this, and I'll see you inside in about 5 minutes. Okay, we're getting ready to head out. We have the big, 30-second walk next door to watch the game today. We've got our couple of different kinds of wings. We're going to serve the ones that I brined in buttermilk with some blue cheese dressing. And these are already glazed. I'm going to put a little bit more glaze on top of these here in a minute before I take them down. And these little mini potato bombs look delicious. So we're going to head out. I'm probably not going to have time for a taste test, but I'll try to take some photos at the party. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Part of the game for Impact. Drop back on first down, drop back on the second down. Get a first down. And usually you want to wait till the third, fourth quarter to say, Tom Brady. It's pretty early for him to be asked to just drop back and pass on each play. He's going to go out of the gun.
Tell me when. These wings are the best.
Hold on.
You gotta do a Lucas too.
The best matchup to be
The best ever.
and another timeout ever behind New England.
Okay, we just got back from the Super Bowl game. Everything was a hit. The wings were a hit, but I'm telling you, these potatoes were gobbled up really fast. So if there's one thing from this particular cook you might want to try, those things are really good. So congrats to Tom Brady, and we'll see you next time.